How does your law firm get more clients? That is the number one question that attorneys have who are managing or operating law firms. And in today's episode, I'm going to go over my top 4 tips on client development for 2024.
Welcome to the Josh Gerben Show, because law school didn't teach business.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Josh Gerben Show. This is episode 32. This is the show where we talk about the business of law. And before we even get started today, I want to invite you to email me at josh@joshgerben.com. Email me any questions you have about running your law firm or the business of law in general. I love to have conversations with other lawyers, and many times your questions might become the topic of a new episode. So please drop me a note just to say hello or ask me a question, josh@joshgerben.com. All right, so let's get into today's episode. I want to talk about how you can be better at business and client development. There's a number of ways to do this, and there's a couple of things that we're not going to cover in the video today. And I've covered them in videos in the past. And one of them would be a digital marketing strategy. So you can certainly, in today's world, have SEO, pay-per-click, and all these different strategies that are going to drive leads to your firm. I'm not covering those today, but I don't want to overshoot them. I think they're very important. I'm going to talk today about sort of more business development strategies as opposed to advertising strategies. So there are 4 ways that I have really grown our practice from no clients when I started in 2008 to thousands of clients here in 2024. And here are the 4 ways. 1, create content. 2, position yourself for referrals. 3, attend conferences. And 4, earn the repeat business from your current clients. So let's jump into the first one, which is creating content. This is probably the most important thing you could do for your firm. Or if you're an attorney that doesn't own a firm, the most important thing you could do for your career to advance your profile and get actually some business development going. So when we talk about content, the first thing we want to decide on is where this content's going to go. So here are my suggestions on where to start. First, you should be writing a blog. Second, you should have a YouTube channel or YouTube presence of some kind. Third, you should absolutely be on LinkedIn. And fourth, you should have a podcast like this one. The optional channels are going to be things like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter or X, because those are channels that are more unique to an individual's ability to create for those channels, as opposed to what a lawyer typically could do, which is write and come up with some pretty interesting content around their area of law. So keep in mind, you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not a TikToker. I don't have a cool dance. You don't have to have all that. You just need to have certain areas where people know you. And for example, if you look at my content, I have a blog, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, and I am on a podcast. We dabble in Instagram and TikTok, but we really don't have a big audience there. So it's really all those other places that I'm drawing the benefits from this content. Now, when you're creating the content, you say, okay, I know what I need to create. I need to write a blog. I need to post on LinkedIn. Probably need to have a podcast, and which is kind of hard, but it's something you could do. And I should create videos for YouTube. But what's the content going to be about? What are the rules for content creation? So here are my 3 rules for creating content. 1, the content must be useful to other people. 2, the content should be something that you're passionate about. And 3, you have to schedule time to create content on a regular basis so that you stay in front of everybody and you have that consistency with your content. So what do I mean by each of these? The content has to be useful to other people. Don't go on LinkedIn and tell everybody about your awards or how great you are. You want to talk about your area of law in general and give them information that can be helpful. So for me, I'm a trademark attorney. You will see me post on LinkedIn about trademark cases and giving my evaluation of those cases and how they're interesting. You might see me post some trademarks 101 stuff. Hey, you should do a trademark search because of X, Y, or Z, or here's how to think about creating a unique trademark. I'm not saying, hey, you should hire me as your attorney. If people see the content and they appreciate it and they follow me, eventually we get those connections going. But if all your content is look at me and look how great I am, that doesn't do anybody any good. Nobody's going to want to follow you. People follow people because you're providing useful information. You're answering questions for them. You're helping them learn about an area of law that they're interested in. The whole idea that you're going to be useful in your content is the most important thing. Rule number 2 is you have to be passionate about the area that you're talking about. Because if you're doing content around things you don't really care about, it's going to come through in the content. The best content is passionate. You want to let it rip, right? You want to just be out there, be yourself, and you want to be personable. So if you are not passionate about your area of law, or you're not passionate about what you're talking about, you're just going to create bland content. It's going to be no good. Nobody's going to care about it. And my final point is you have to be consistent. So that can be hard. As a busy lawyer, even myself, I find it hard to get time to record content, to record this podcast. I literally put it on my calendar. So I will say, okay, Friday at 3 p.m., I am recording a podcast. And that is just as solid as a client call at being at 3 p.m. No matter what is going on in my world, I'm going to stop and I'm going to record that podcast. Because if you don't schedule that time to write that blog, record the podcast, write that LinkedIn post, it's never going to happen. I have 20 minutes every morning in that window. I write a LinkedIn post. I don't give myself an hour. I say, I've got 20 minutes to figure this out. It compresses the time. It forces me to write it, forces me to get the content going and get it posted. So think about what you can do in your schedule to schedule the time, but make sure you're consistent. If you post once a month, nobody's going to ever follow you. You're never going to develop any type of thought leadership on social or via a blog. The final point I'm going to make about content is look at what I do, not what I say. If you follow me on Twitter, if you follow me on LinkedIn, if you read our blog on gerbenlaw.com, you can see the type of information we're putting out in the world. And that has been successful in developing clients, developing our existing clients into doing more work, and also developing new clients. You could also follow people that are really good at content creation. One of the best follows out there, his name is Gary Vaynerchuk. Strongly suggest you give his podcast a listen, his LinkedIn a follow. He's got great advice on how to create content. And there's many others. So look for people that can teach you, not even, non-lawyers, because Gary's not a lawyer. It's nothing to do with the legal world. But look for people that are creating good content and then figure out how to create good content in your niche area of expertise. All right, my second tip on how to develop business is that you have to position yourself for referrals. And here are the 5 ways you can do it. The first is you need to be the go-to person for a specific type of law. Second, you have to be so good at what you do that everybody wants to refer work to you, that you get known for that and people will just refer to you because you have such a good reputation. Third is you should refer work strategically to other law firms that might be able to refer work back to you. Fourth is you have to keep in touch with your network. You have to make sure you're in front of your network, which comes back to number 1 in content creation, that if you've got 100 law school friends, they all see your post on LinkedIn about what you're doing. Believe it or not, they'll refer work to you. So staying in front of people just top of mind and making sure they know you know your stuff. And if they refer somebody to you, it's not going to look bad on them. That's a great way to generate referrals. And fifth, you have to remind your clients that you really appreciate referrals, and that's how you grow your business. So if your clients are happy, they'll refer work back to you. I can tell you that in my law firm, the number 1 way we are growing right now is from referrals. We are known as the trademark people. So if you have a trademark problem, guess what? We get a call. If another attorney's client has a trademark problem and they don't practice trademark law, we get the call. So the idea that we've positioned ourselves as the go-to trademark people is invaluable because we're not going to be everything to everybody. We're just a trademark people. And it's an easy call when there's a trademark problem. So the second thing is you have to be really good at what you do, right? And we have a great reputation because we get great success for clients, and people that work with us love working with us because we're really good at client service. So when that happens, people keep coming back to you. We had a law firm that sent us a referral because they had sent referrals to other lawyers and they weren't really happy about it. And they sent us a referral and the client sang our praises. Next thing you know, we got 5 more referrals from that law firm, right? So it was the fact we were already known as the go-to people, but they weren't 100% sure. They didn't want to send us everybody they had waiting. But the minute they heard we were as good as everybody said we were, we got the rest of their work. So you really have to back up the fact that you're the go-to person with the client service and the quality work. And if you're doing that, the referrals will just all of a sudden start pouring in. The next thing you do is refer work strategically out to refer to firms that might refer work back to you. So for example, we're a trademark firm and we don't do any other type of work. If a client has corporate work they need done, we might refer them to a corporate attorney who in turn will refer another client back for trademark work later on. So it's a circle of life, right? We just keep everything going, but we're happy to refer work to other law firms that are then referring work back to us. It just makes everybody's world go round. Fourth is keeping in touch with your network. I have law school classmates that have referred me some of the best clients we had because they know me and they see me out there on LinkedIn all the time. They see all my videos. They're like, Josh is just a trademark guy. I've known him since law school. I trust him. Of course, I'm going to send him this work if I can. But you know what? If I was never on LinkedIn and I never did a blog or never had a website and I was just putzing around somewhere doing trademarks, they probably wouldn't refer the work to me because they wouldn't be as confident that I could get it done. But because they know who I am and I've kept my reputation up over the years, even people in law school that I wasn't, let's say, best friends with, they're still referring work to this day. And that goes for anybody you know in your life. I have neighbors who refer me work. In my neighborhood, I can count 3 different client referrals that I've gotten that are really good clients of our firm. And they're because there's other business executives who live in my neighborhood and they knew people that needed a trademark attorney. And I happen to be one. And I'm their neighbor and they see me on LinkedIn. So it's one of those things where being in front of the people you know, you would be surprised how many referrals you'll get because of that. Especially if you're not just saying, hey, give me your referrals. Like, don't be that person. Make sure they're in your world. Make sure they follow you on social media. Make sure they see some of the stuff you're doing so that then when the problem comes up in their world, the crossover happens. All of a sudden, that friendship becomes a business relationship, right? So just remember, people you know sometimes are your best referral sources. The final thing is you really need your clients to refer you, friends of theirs. And that's a no-brainer. But if you do great work for people, guess what? You're going to get referred. Almost on a daily basis, definitely on a weekly basis, our firm gets an email saying, hey, you did work for so-and-so, and now I need a trademark, and they told me you're the best, right? Couldn't go any better than that. It's a warm referral. It's coming from an existing client. This is how you grow a firm. This is how you grow a law practice. So I hope you take those 5 tips, use them to your best ability, and you will find when you combine that with your content, you're just going to do really well over time. All right, everybody, taking a quick break from the show here to read an ad. The ad is from none other than Gerben IP, who is the sponsor of this program. Gerben IP is my law firm that I founded in 2008. We do trademark, copyright, and patent work. If you are an attorney whose client needs assistance with intellectual property, we offer a 20% referral fee for any work that you refer over to us. So if you have a client and you think that they might be a good match for us, we offer a complimentary consultation, trademark strategy session, you name it. We'll talk to you about the client. We'll talk to you about what we can do. Talk to the client. Feel free to drop me an email. It's jgerben@gerbenlawfirm.com. That's jgerben@gerbenlawfirm.com. And we're happy to see if we can help you. Now back to the show. All right, my third tip on client development is you should attend conferences. I am personally terrible at this. My law partner, Eric, does it, and he does it well. And here's how he does it. 1, choose conferences you have a personal interest in. He loves board games. You could not catch me playing a board game even if you paid me. But Eric loves board games. This is what he does all weekend long. So there's, believe it or not, I didn't even know this, board game conferences. And there's everybody, guess what? Every board game has copyright and trademark issues, right? So you have a name of a board game. You have the game itself that could be protected, game pieces. I mean, there's all kinds of IP in a board game. So Eric goes to these conferences, gets to know people. One of the things he'll do when he's going, before he gets to the conference, he gets a list of attendees and the people that he thinks might be a good match for us. He might send an email and say, hey, I'm going to be at this conference. If you have any desire to meet with me, let me know. We'll schedule a time. And as simple as that sounds, he just told me he's got a couple dozen meetings set up on the next board game conference he's going to. So you've got to find a conference that you're passionate about the topic. And before you show up, do some homework and look at who's going to be there. Try to send some emails out, get some meetings going, because at least that'll get you out there and it'll make the trip worthwhile. And then the serendipity of just being around everybody else, you might run into some other people who could become clients. So it's something I'm terrible about. I'm an introvert. I hate these things. I get it. So it might not be your thing, but if it is, it's a great way to go develop clients because you're meeting people in person. And in today's digital world, there's nothing better than meeting someone in person, shaking their hand, looking in their eye, and knowing you can trust them. And that's what a lot of people want to do when they're hiring a lawyer. So, I strongly recommend you looking into that. So our final pillar is getting repeat business from current clients. Now, this is so important. I'm going over it a second time. And the reason it's so important is because when you have 10 clients and 8 of them refer you work, now you have 18 clients. And when you have 18 clients and 12 of them refer you work, you get the math. It's compounding over the years. And when you're in business, so we're in business 16 years, like we get referrals almost on a daily basis. Very minimal on a weekly basis from clients of ours we've worked with in the past. We might have worked with the client 5 years ago and haven't heard from them, and we'll get a referral from them today. So the reason you have, how do you generate these referrals? 1, do good work, right? You have to do good work for people. But 2, you got to stay in front of them. So this gets back to number 1, create content. You should have a newsletter, right? The newsletter should go at least once a quarter to all your clients you've ever worked with. right? Make the newsletter useful. Give them some helpful information. Be on LinkedIn. Connect with your clients on LinkedIn. Let them see your post. So even if you aren't working with them all the time, you're still top of mind for them when there's a need in your specific area. And that's how you can get your clients and keep your clients in your world. They see you on social media. They get your newsletter. So it keeps you top of mind. It's not like, oh, who's that trademark guy I worked with 5 years ago? He was good, but I can't remember his name. Hey, you're in their inbox every 3 months. So if they need to find your email address, you're there, right? Or every time they're on LinkedIn, you've got a poster watching you and they think you're fun and they like following you. And, oh, I know that guy. I worked with them. Well, now you're, again, remain top of mind. So the best thing you can do is take everybody that knows you, that you've worked with, your client base, stay in front of them, and you will be surprised the amount of referrals that will come from that over the years. So the final thing I'm going to leave you with here is that any type of business development takes time. You cannot do all of these things and expect that the business is going to come like that. And that all of a sudden in 2 or 3 months, you're going to have business flowing. It took me 5 or 6 years of doing all these things before we started to see consistent results. And now that we've been doing them for 16 years, we see results on almost a daily basis. So you have to be in this for the long game. You have to be patient. And if you're not patient, it's never going to work. You're not consistent, it's never going to work. So you need to really put the work in on this. But I promise you, if you do, and you do all these things I'm talking about, you're going to generate business for your law firm or for yourself, and it's going to be great for your career. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching the podcast today. Before you get going, I just have a couple things for you. First, if you can click like or a 5-star review on wherever you're watching or listening to the show, it really helps us out because it promotes the show for other people in your network. So please leave us a rating, review, a thumbs up, wherever you can, be much appreciated. And finally, as a reminder, our sponsor today was Gerben IP. Gerben IP is my law firm. We offer trademark, patent, and copyright services. If you have a client that needs any of these things, we do pay a referral fee. Please feel free to get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about your client, about what's going on, and see if we can help. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.